The Chosen on Blu-ray, episode 7 from season 1. Here's my quick review, and I'm just going to go through it like this is a book club and it's my turn to talk. So we're just going to go over some stuff that I noticed, and and I'd love to hear what you think too. All right, so I like when they do these flashbacks, and this is clearly a very, very old flashback, and we're soon going to find out that this is Moses, and he's in here working on something, and Aaron comes in wondering what he's doing in there. Anyway, the point is he's in there working, and first of all, I think it's cool when they bring in like the past, and in this case, the long past with Moses. I think it's cool to tie the Old Testament and New Testament together, and this is a cool way that they're doing that, because he's doing the brass serpent that he holds up, and then everyone who looks at it is healed. So that's this story. But there was something really distracting about this scene. So I don't know if I said, but the other guy is Joshua. Anyway, so here he is. He's working.
I have to leave.
Working on this
and find someplace else.
This serpent, and once I realized it was Moses,
so many people are...
and I realized that it's just a flashback and it's only for a couple minutes, but I don't know if I've just been spoiled by the Prince of Egypt cartoon and the Ten Commandments movie, but I just picture Moses as more like big epic beard and like maybe in a little better shape. So I thought the casting of this guy was really weird for Moses. But again, I guess a prophet isn't about their appearance. It's just, I guess I've been conditioned to think of Moses as like an epic looking, like bearded Jedi type. So I was a little taken aback by this guy with this like hardly anything, like little scruffy beard. So I was hoping, I'm always looking at beards to see if they're really grown or if they're glued on. The show seems about 50-50. Anyway, I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for a more maybe Charlton Heston looking Moses, but I guess they subverted my expectations by not doing that. So I really like this conversation between Nico and Quintus, and they're talking about the preacher, the miracle worker, and Quintus is all worried about it, and he's talking about how these preachers in the wilderness, they sprout up like weeds and you have to get rid of them, and using like a gardening analogy. And then Nicodemus here has a really awesome comeback. My wife and I both thought it was a really cool comeback. Listen to this.
Some flora spread their seeds when trampled. Who's to say you wouldn't be creating a martyr?
Ah, nice one. I really like this conversation between Jesus and I think John, where he's talking about how they're gonna have to move from town to town and basically be, I don't want to say vagabonds, but he asks him, he says, "Is this what you want?" And he says, "Well, what I want is to do the will of my Father and spread salvation." He's like, "So if that means wandering from town to town," he's like, "Yeah, then yeah." And then one of the other guys is chopping wood and asks him how much he should prepare. And he says this.
But you said that we wouldn't be here very long. Leaving some for the next weary traveler. Hospitality isn't only for people who own homes, John.
So he told the guy chopping wood, he's like, do 5 days of wood. And then he's like, wait, I thought we are going to leave really soon. And then he says that line where he's like, hey, we can leave some behind for the next person. So I like that. It's not really in the book, but it feels like on brand or on character. But it's characteristic of how he is portrayed, in that he's giving and caring and thoughtful. So leaving wood for the next weary traveler would be considered like a Christ-like thing to do. So it's just cool seeing him basically be this character that we all feel like he is. So it's nice to see it played out kind of in like mortality, I guess. So each episode so far has had like a moment that just like really strikes me, and I'm just like, oh, that's my favorite part. Something that just really hits me as feeling authentic or just moving, or that I think is cool or funny. Kind of like the episode with the little kids that are kind of going to play with him at his little camp by himself in the wilderness. When he puts the project he's working on, when he finds that it works, he says quietly to himself, he says, "It is good." And I love that in that episode. And this episode, I think it's this part right here. So he's just been talking to Mary about setting up a meeting with Nicodemus, and she asks where he's going, and I love this answer here.
Hey,
Yes, teacher. Where are you going?
to be alone. I need to think and to pray.
I will pray also. That I do not put you in terrible danger.
All right. Just where he says he needs to go be alone to think and to pray. I think it'd be too easy just to portray him out with his people and leading, and I think we miss the parts where he is just by himself in the forest, just sitting and thinking. I mean, I guess it doesn't really have to be by himself in the forest. I meant like wilderness. This picture here is one of my favorites, and forgive me, I don't have the artist's. Oh, it's Greg Olson. Okay. This painting by Greg Olson is one of my favorites because it portrays this concept that the episode just talked about, where he's alone and thinking, and I mean, who knows what he's doing? He's awake. But I love that picture. I just think it shows that we need to take time to be alone and to ponder and think. So that part of the episode is definitely my favorite part. Sorry for disturbing you. This conversation.
My whole life, I have wondered if I would see this day.
Follow me, and you'll see more.
This conversation between Nicodemus and Jesus is absolutely incredible. It's incredibly shot, incredibly acted, and it's beautiful because the whole time I'm watching him in the series, and I'm just like, he seems like he's gonna be an easy convert. Like, he's like super in tune and he's searching. And this scene and this earlier part of the episode where his wife's like, we need to go back to Jerusalem. Like, we have like grandkids, we got a circumcision we got to go to, you know, like we got all these big deals. And right here, Jesus is like, you need to follow me. And he's like, follow you? Like, out in the, in the wilderness? And it's actually convincing. His I guess position is actually convincing to where you can, even if you don't agree, you can sympathize, where he would be like, oh, I don't think I'm ready to do that. And so I just thought the scene was amazing between these two guys. Like, incredible, like beautiful acting. I don't want to say Oscar worthy acting, because I think that cheapens it, because the Oscars are trash. But that is a bar that has historically been used for good acting. Like, there are, I think, Oscars that were very well placed. It's just nowadays I think they've just fallen to trash. But so with that asterisk in mind, this is like Oscar worthy acting here. Like, it's incredible. So here comes the other invitation from the episode, because the episode's called Invitations. So he's walking past the little tax collector booth, and he looks over at Matthew, and then he stops and comes back and does this.
Matthew! Matthew, son of Alphaeus!
Gets his attention.
Yes? Follow me. Me? Yes, you.
And then he drops everything and he follows him, and he's pretty bold in leaving Gaius, I think that Roman's guy's name is, but he just goes and follows him, and it's like, man, I guess that opens the way to some dramatic tension. You know, Peter Simon and Andrew have not been a fan of this tax collector. I mean, nobody is. I mean, his own mother basically rejected him. He went to go see her in this episode, and she's like not having it, which is really sad. And so he's quite the outsider. So seeing this, and also this is great contrast, because the scene prior is Nicodemus being like, I don't know if I can follow you. And he's like, well, don't change your mind. Like, I'll be here on this day. Like, you can show up if you want to. But then it's just cool to see Matthew just drop what he's doing and follow him. So very cool to see different people's reaction to him calling them. All right, you can see his baffled expression as Matthew takes off. But here comes a Jesus line that's it's like a hero line, or like a total movie trailer line here. It's pretty awesome.
I don't get it. didn't get it when I chose you either.
But this is different. I'm not a tax collector.
Get used to different.
Ooh, Jesus, mic drop. Just that's an awesome line. Just this movie does a good job, or series does a good job of like fun little catchphrases, and that's one of them. Okay, this has been episode 7 called Invitations on Blu-ray. And like I said, I really enjoy watching it on Blu-ray versus streaming. I like the stability of a Blu-ray versus streaming. However, I think it would be nice to see a nicer Blu-ray, like a less compressed Blu-ray, maybe even a 4K. I don't know how they filmed it. I imagine it was just filmed in 1080p. I could probably research that. But the Blu-ray looks okay. Definitely not up to the standard that Blu-ray can do, and the audio's great. But I think we could do a little better on the picture quality. But otherwise, I'm really liking this show. Like I'm finding it entertaining and moving, and it's light. You know, there's a lot of garbage we could watch nowadays, and there's a lot of garbage that I watch and enjoy. But this is a nice change of pace, and it's perfect for December, I think. So I'm really enjoying this. I would love to hear from you. If you could push the thumb up or thumb down and say words, that would be great. It's encouraging to let me know that you're watching and that you're interested in me reviewing this series. So please push some of those buttons and let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.